Hello everybody and welcome back. I can't believe it. It's lesson 3 already. It's Friday. It's Renewable English. It's Cultivating Changemakers, and it's all happening right here, right now. I do need to close this door because it's very echoey in here. There we go. Hi everyone. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming along. Always a pleasure to have you. Before we continue with today's lesson, as I'm sure you saw on the intro screen, which is all about sport, I'd like to remind you to give us a follow on these. Give us a subscribe. You can like as well, of course, over here on YouTube. And then if you're feeling generous, feel free to give us a coffee on... Is that coffee.com or kofi.com? I don't even know. Isn't it weird how pronunciation, we just decide it in our own heads when we read something? Very strange. Hello, Anna. Lovely to see you. Thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure to have you. Always a pleasure to see you. So let's have a look at today's quote. Let's have a quick look. Strange how this quote was not made by a sports person. It was made by a politician. And they said, sport can be a catalyst for change and inspire people to take actions on the climate crisis. I agree 100%. What confuses me a lot about sport. Now, this is something I came across today. I was at school. I'd walked Alethea to school. No, we went by bike today. Anyway, I'd gone by bike to school with Alethea, and we were at the gates, and there were people walking around saying, congratulations, good job, well done, brilliant, amazing, you were excellent last night, to lots of different students and different parents, and I'm looking on thinking, what did everyone do last night? What did you all do that was so great that they deserve congratulations for? I was like, I've missed something. And then I realised they were congratulating each other because their favourite football team had won a match and got to a final. Now, don't get me wrong. I was obsessed with sport for many, many years. I was obsessed with Arsenal, a huge Arsenal fan for many years. If they lost, it would ruin my day. If they won, I would be the happiest person alive. But in recent years, it's started to really upset me. This passion, this drive that people have for sport, for people who are effectively in no way connected to them, that by chance they have come to support this team. This connection, this passion that people are willing to fight for, to die for, isn't translated into other, perhaps slightly more important, more pressing issues. There we go. We support in Poland. They support Lewandowski. Yeah, and I think sport is great. I love sport. I love the way it unites people. I love the way it drives people to do things, which is why I think sport has such power. Because, of course, if we all love Lewandowski, which who doesn't, he's pretty awesome, loves scoring goals, is tall, what more can you want from a person? Especially a footballer. But if Lewandowski was coming out every day saying, hi everyone, do you know what? Barcelona, my team, we flew to Valencia yesterday. That's ridiculous, isn't it? We could have got a train that would have taken 2 hours. Why did we fly? Why did we take this jet? If we had Lewandowski saying that, people might start listening. When you've got some bald, bearded fella with a shirt on, People don't usually listen to me. So yeah, what we need to do is try and change that view, change that opinion, and keep working towards it. So I'm going to throw out some questions for you. Oh, I forgot to give you the link, as I should have, to where you can find the worksheet. I did post it earlier today on the socials. But as this is a non-registration lesson, I don't like to make you register. I don't think you need to. You can come if and whenever you like. So, I'll put them out there every time. But just remember, if you need the worksheet for the lesson, feel free to jump onto Renewable English /cultivating changemakers, and they will all be in there with all of the previous lessons before. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Anna. He could easily do more for the climate. I mean, we all could really, but these people in huge positions of power could make a massive difference. So, let's look at some sports teams. If you want to write them down on your worksheet, please feel free. Sorry, I just suddenly got very, very, very dry. So, water break. Okay, so I'll give you a few moments. You don't have to write your answers in the chat if you don't want to. Talk to your classmates, have a look around. What do you think? Who are they? Who could they be? Cheers indeed, Anna. Cheers indeed. So have a look around. If you just heard my email buzzing then, I apologise. It's been constant today. So who are these teams? They are Liverpool, Tottenham Hotspur, AFC Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest. Now, all Premiership teams, because today we're going to focus mostly the first half of the lesson. We're going to focus it on Premiership football. Why? Well, there are lots of sports. How many sports do you think you can name? Oof. There are so many. We've got tennis, we've got squash, we've got paddle. That's 3 racket games. Then, of course, there's fronton, which is similar. There's volleyball. There's water polo. There's synchronized swimming. There's swimming races. There's diving. Then we've got football. We've got indoor football. We've got five-a-side football. We've got rugby. We've got rugby league, rugby union, rugby sevens. I could go on all day about all of the different sports we have. So looking at the impact, the negative impact or the positive impact that all of these different things have would take a long time. So what I've done today is focused it all on probably the most popular league of the most popular sport in the world, the Premier League in the UK. And these 4 teams have a connection. How are they connected? Well, they all play football in England. Very good. AFC Bournemouth is where Harry's brother went to catering college. Interesting. Not correct. Nottingham, the home of Nottingham Forest, is where the Meek family and Kids Against Plastic are from. True again, not a connection. Tottenham Hotspur, Arsenal's biggest rival. Harry's supposed to hate them. Do you know what? I don't see why people hate somebody from one team and another team. It's a sport, but they're still people. Liverpool, Ewan's favourite team. None of these reasons are connected. Why are they connected? Let's have a look. And this is the Premier League Sustainability Rankings. The first table you can see is from 2019 and the latest table is from this year. They have been doing it for 4 years. But what have they done? They have moved the goalposts. That's a phrase we use in English when somebody changes the requisites for something. So just imagine. Let's pretend that your teacher is Anna. And Anna says to you, hey everybody, if you finish 5 tasks today, no homework. Everyone cheers. Yeah, Anna, you're the best. You're amazing. And then the head teacher comes in And Anna looks across, and the head teacher says, Anna, you said they could go have no homework if they did 5 activities. Well, actually, they need to do 7 activities if they want to have no homework. So even though something has been agreed on, the goalposts were moved. And it wasn't Anna's fault. Anna is a wonderful teacher, and her idea was fantastic. The head teacher, however, somebody above Anna came in and said, no, we're doing that differently. Everything changes. So, well, and there you go. Anna does it every Friday because she's wonderful. So what we can see here are the rules have changed. The goalposts have been moved. They've been made stricter, which is a good thing. But the way they score has changed as well. So you can see a big change in the teams and where they've moved in the league from up here to down here, from higher up to lower down. We can see that Southampton have gone all the way up to 4th, down from, joint 6th place. But anyway, the goalposts were moved and the ideas are different now. There are lots of different ways that they check how efficient a football club is or how sustainable a football club is. However, it was only this year that they added in flights. So they've been going for the previous 3 years without taking into account flights. There are some brilliant initiatives in here. Do not get me wrong. Tottenham Hotspurs are teaching the male and female teams. They have education for the players, for the teams on sustainability. And I'm sure that's not just to recycle their plastic. It will be about investing their vast wealth into something that is better than, a fossil fuel industry. Let's look at HSBC, for example. Don't keep your money there. 37.8 billion invested in fossil fuels. But that's a different story. So they are being checked up on, they are being looked at, and our ideas are being seen. But we need to change this narrative. We need to stop looking at Tottenham Hotspur and Liverpool and saying, you guys, you're amazing. Look at all the things you're doing to be more sustainable. Because I imagine that their carbon footprint in general, in total, is much bigger than that of Bournemouth. However, Bournemouth aren't doing enough. They're not trying hard enough. So they are terrible and Tottenham Hotspurs are great. I didn't think I'd ever say that in a sentence. Tottenham Hotspur are great. Oof, I've said it twice now. I hope Jimbo isn't listening. He's one of my best friends who supports Tottenham. So what do we need to do? So they've moved the goalposts. We need to change the narrative, which is what I should have put up here, but instead I put move the goalposts. We need to change the narrative. This is the carbon footprint of an event. Cheers. Which is clearly the most important part of the venue that we need to work on. The most important part of the event that we need to work on. Looking at this pie chart, I mean, we're not talking food and beverages, obviously. Pie, yeah, food and beverages. Sorry. We can see it's very clear that the biggest issue, the whole sport business around it is harmful. It's very harmful. And the travel side of it is a huge proportion of what's being done. But a lot of the focus in these sustainability goals are on materials and waste and the venue. Yes, these are things that need to be changed, but food and beverages. I went to 9 of the 20 Premier League football teams' websites. I went on there, I looked at them, I was looking at their sustainability page. All their sustainability pages are full of delightful greenwashing. I forgot to put any on here because I'm an idiot. But they say, hey, look, we have installed these water fountains so you can refill your bottles. But they continue selling water bottles for £6-7 there. Stop selling water bottles and people can then use the water machine. That way you are actually doing something to make a difference and not just lying about it. For postponed matches, the food was given to charities and food shelters? Why only postponed matches? Why not at the end of a match, any food that has gone unsold is given to homeless shelters, is given to people who need it? Because do you know what? At the moment, people need food. People really need food. So if you have lots of food left over, give it to somebody. It will have a smaller impact on the environment as well, and a huge impact on social justice and helping people in your area. I'm sorry I went into rant mode. What we need to do is work on travel. Encourage people to come to matches on public transport. Add extra trains. Add extra buses. Is there any league before the Premier League? Well, I don't think there's any league that makes a bigger impact on the planet than the Premier League, no. I mean, there are lots of other leagues with lots of transport and travel. I mean, I imagine the NBA has a quite large carbon footprint, but in football, I don't think so. So we need to focus on travel, but not just the travel of people going to matches, because forever we are told we need to fix this. You know, you need to stop using plastic. You need to stop using the tap while you're brushing your teeth. Yes, you do. But it needs to be bigger than that. It's bigger than us. So, you know, looking at these stats, there are clearly areas that we can work on. There are clearly things that we can do. So I want to have a look at football teams and their air miles. Now, what really upsets me about these football teams is these air miles are unnecessary. And what it's doing is glorifying flying. It's showing children around the world, hey, look, it's okay to fly if it's, you know, a 2-hour drive away. Why not? Another good thing Tottenham have been doing is they're travelling to matches using biofuel buses. So that's a new thing that's been implemented. But you can see Tottenham and Arsenal are close rivals. They're right next to each other. Arsenal have travelled almost 60,000 kilometres by plane. Tottenham, less than 40,000 kilometres by plane. That's a huge difference. That's an enormous difference. Look at Liverpool and Everton. There's a big difference there. However, Liverpool play in Europe. Everton fight against relegation. So there's less need for them to fly overseas. So these are the air miles travel. We can see that Manchester United and Arsenal clearly don't use buses enough. You know, look at Southampton. Southampton, who would have every right to fly to their matches, because look, they are in the south of the country. There's lots of places to travel. It would take a long time by car. They have 7,000 miles only. The amount of they produce 10 times less, almost 10 times less carbon than Manchester United. Now, Manchester's in the middle of the country. They can get anywhere by bus. But not Southampton. Yet Southampton obviously save money and save the planet on not hiring planes. However, next year, there's only one place they're going, and that is down to the Championship, which I'm sorry to see after 11 years. Now, these are the air miles that they take. Now, there was a survey very recently that I'd like to draw your attention to. And that was over 2 months. So, a lot of the Premier League were celebrating how in 2020 they reduced their carbon footprint. Well, nobody was travelling to matches, people. So, of course, your carbon footprint has been reduced. But have a look at this. 81 domestic flights from 100 matches. 81 domestic flights. Now, some of these flights, I must admit, there were no people on the flights. It was the plane going from one place to collect the football team to go to the match. The team didn't even go to the plane. The plane went to the team to collect the team so they could go to the match. You know, I despair. And there was a flight as short as 27 minutes. 27 minutes! Has anybody here ever taken a 27-minute flight? No. Why? Because they don't exist. 27-minute flights do not exist because they are highly, highly unnecessary. They are terrible for the planet. They are absolutely awful. It is a huge waste. And when we have people's idols taking photos while they're on planes, uploading them to Instagram, showing people, hey, look, I'm flying 27 minutes. I'm flying from Manchester to Leicester. 100 miles. I'm flying 100 miles because we can't be bothered to take a bus. We can't sit on a bus together. We have to go by plane. It's insane. The average duration of a flight is 42 minutes. 42 minutes. I've never been on a flight that is shorter than 50 minutes. And that was to go from the UK to Amsterdam. It's not as easy to do that by plane. Yes, you can do it by boat. It's very expensive. It's not more expensive for a team to use their team bus than it is to fly in a plane. It just isn't. It's insane. It's ridiculous. And the longest flight was only 77 minutes. 77 minutes is how long it takes for me to get from Seville to Barcelona. 77 minutes. Okay, if you're traveling that far, it might end up as a 10-hour drive. But it wouldn't take that long on the train. Charter a train. Or, you know what, for the longer flights, for the hour and a half flights, take your flight. Fine, don't spend 10 hours in a car. If it's less than 3 hours by bus, how are you doing it that any other way? It's ridiculous. It's setting a terrible example. So what can we do? What can be done? We can campaign. We can send letters. We can send emails. We can have social media posts connected to our football teams. When these players show themselves on flights, ask those players, do you need to be flying? Because if we have kids sending letters, writing to, speaking to these huge international superstars, and they read these and they look at this, they might say, do you know what, guys? We need to say something about this. And if the players are saying, we don't want to fly, we want to go by bus, then the teams will have to change that narrative. We need to change the narrative. And from there, I'd like to go from negative, to positive, and look at a few heroes of change. We have a few heroes here. We have Forest Green Rovers, we have Dame Ellen MacArthur, and we also have Mathieu Flamini. So we're going to find out who they are and what they do very shortly. Here they are above. We've got Forest Green Rovers, Flamini, Ellen MacArthur. And here's what they do, or what they've done, or what they did. One of them is the co-founder of a biochemical company. One of them is working towards a circular economy. And one of them is the world's first net zero football club. I think it's fairly obvious which one is the Net Zero Football Club. Sorry, I just saw a message pop up, got distracted. It is Forest Green Rovers. They are owned by a gentleman who had a renewable energy company, and they are doing fantastically well and have been for a long time. And in 2015, the club went vegan, so they only sell plant-based foods. They are also the first team, as I say, to go net zero as well. And sadly, they were also relegated last year. If I ever went to the UK, Forest Green Rovers, you are my new team. I'll be moving to Gloucestershire to come and see you and support you and shout for you. Dame Ellen MacArthur is working towards a circular economy. So this is a linear economy is when you buy something and you throw it away. A circular economy is one that we keep using. We keep using things and reusing things. This is brilliant. This is wonderful. This is a positive way forward to step away from this horrible waste that we are so addicted to. The disposable nature of everything. So she's using her platform as a former world record holder of solo sailing around the world. She's using that platform for good. She's out there. She's educating. She's speaking. She's making a difference. And Mathieu Flamini, who an unassuming defensive midfielder who played at left back for Arsenal in the 2006 run to the Champions League final where we were so cruelly defeated by Barcelona. Not that I remember that day or anything. He is the co-founder of a biochemical company that mass-produce luvelic acid, which is a way of creating a bioplastic, basically. And his company is now worth about 10 billion. So he is technically the richest footballer, even richer than Messi and Ronaldo. I love Flamini, isn't he brilliant? I would love to get him on Renewable English to be like, you know what? Sports people can make a difference. We can do positive things. We just need to be given the chance to learn, and then we can shout about it from the rooftops, and we can help other people make a difference as well. So now we're going to learn about somebody who is doing that, who's out there trying to make that difference for other people and get other people to make that difference. And that is Hannah Hall. So welcome to interview time. Here are your questions. Here comes your interview. Ready when you are. How long have you been interested in the climate crisis in general?
My concern for climate crisis actually started not from any particular moment, but from continuously mixing with people who were or are immersed in conservation. So in my line of work, I've been on a journey. I've gone into publishing, hospitality, and now in education, which is where I'm focused. So I'm actually the head of marketing and comms for an ecological school here in the UAE. And it's my 4th year here, and we nurture children into ambassadors of the environment. So I'm actually affectionately known as chief storyteller by my peers. And outside of digital marketing, sustainable storytelling is my area of expertise. So sustainable storytelling it refers to the practice of creating and sharing narratives that promote sustainability, or the use of resources in a way that allow for prevention and regeneration for future generations. So overall, the goal of sustainable storytelling is to foster a sense of interconnectedness between people and the natural world. And I inspire individuals and communities to work towards a more sustainable future. So going back to the question, my job has exposed me to some really, really interesting people in the areas of sustainability and conservation. And being around these educators and conservationists, it sparked my concern about the impact that climate change has on the environment.
Oh, there we go. Where is she based? I'll give you a moment. Hi there, Maggie. Nice of you to join us. Nice to see you. Absolute pleasure to have you here. We're wrapping up at the moment, but you'll be able to watch back, so don't you worry. We do still have the last 2 parts of the interview coming up, so don't worry about that. She is based. I'm not going to ruin it. I'm not going to spoil it for Maggie. I'll move on to the next one. I won't answer all those questions now. If you download it, if you're watching back, you can download the worksheet, and on there it does have the answers. I won't ruin this for Maggie right now, but we will go on to the interview part 2. I'd like to know, when did you become interested in sport in general?
Sure. Okay. Well, actually, a love of sports runs through my genes. So my grandfather played county cricket and rugby in the 40s in England. My father was a boxer, and he was also a huge football fan. And I remember being quite young and him dragging me down to the local football team's training ground and making me sit there and watch them. But in terms of sports and genre of sports that I was interested in, I didn't really conform to the normal traditional girls' sports. I was somewhat discouraged to pursue rugby and martial arts, which is actually all I really wanted to participate in. So I dabbled in netball and cross-country running and athletics, but nothing really actually stuck. And it wasn't until I moved here to UAE in my 30s that I finally got the chance to challenge stereotypes and participate in the sports that really, really interested me. So I found here opportunities to train and condition myself physically by learning Muay Thai and kickboxing. And somewhere at the same time, I was asked to take a run out with a local women's rugby team. And from that moment on, I was completely hooked on rugby.
I was ready this time. So what did she take up? What do you think? Was it trail running or desert running? It was trail running. Very good. I began to investigate the carbon footprint of sports. Investigate. Very good. And she wanted to highlight the problem of in the desert. Very good. Anna, I see you dropped in those wonderful answers. It is very good, very good. It's trail running, investigate, and then of course litter as well. Now I'm wary that we're short on time here, so we do have a couple of sections still to go. So if you can hang on, if you can hang on in there, we've just got this last section to go of the interview, which will be turned into a full interview soon and a podcast. But here we go. The way we're going to summarize this one at the end, just take your own time and write a 2-minute tweet about what she says when you're at home, when you're relaxed. You don't need to do it today. So how did you combine your deep love of sport with your love of the planet?
I never really considered the impact that my favorite pastimes could have on the environment until really quite recently. It changed really when I started to see the tangible effects of climate change when I took up trail running here in the UAE. It started with small changes, small things that I noticed, like excessive amounts of plastic in the desert where I was running and currently still run, that had been left by campers or at the sporting races that I attended. So then I began to investigate the carbon footprint of sports, from the energy used to power events to the emissions created by transportation to and from races. And as my awareness grew, I began to really try to seek out ways to make a positive impact and change people's behaviors towards participating in sports in a sustainable way, use my social media presence in a variety of ways. So I try and increase the awareness of climate change here in the UAE through my trail running. I utilize social media to highlight the problem of litter in the deserts and the impact the visitors have to the mountains and wadis where I'm running. Through my own social media channels, I try to encourage sports management companies to practice reduction in carbon footprint of events. I am a little controversial. I do call out on the races where I see no conscious thinking has been put into running a sustainable event. And I really try and encourage athletes to take a leadership role in educating the public on the effects of climate change in their own sport.
And that for me is the absolute key there at the end, what she mentions about athletes educating people and taking that role. So it is almost time to wrap things up.
Sport has the power to.
So
Sport has the.
I'm going to head. It is almost time to wrap things up. I just clicked all over the place then. But now we've got Ali's thoughts. So here we go.
Sport has the power to raise awareness and promote sustainability. It's a game changer that can lead us to score environmental victory for generations to come.
And there we go. So that, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody here, that, folks, is that. Thank you very much for coming along today. Remember to hit subscribe. We're close to 500 now, actually. I think we've got 488 subscribers. I've not worked very hard on the YouTube channel. I've just hoped that people would come through the website, but feel free to share around. Let everybody know. We will be back in 2 weeks talking about the art of change making. It's going to be amazing. And between now and then, I have an intern starting, so you will actually have some proper information on social media and not just what I can do in those moments. So do give us a follow if you don't already. And if you fancy it, by no means feel obliged. Feel free to get us a coffee. And that, everybody, is that. I'll see you all very soon. 2 weeks, in fact. Have a great weekend.